The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you.
Jesus left Samaria for Galilee. He himself had declared that there is no respect for a prophet in his own country. But on his arrival, the Galileans received him well in all that he had done. And Jerusalem during the festival which they too had attended. He went again to Cana in Galilee, where he had changed the water into wine. And now there was a court official there, whose son was ill at Capernaum. And hearing that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, he went and asked him to come and cure his son, as he was at the point of death. And Jesus said, "So you will not believe unless you see signs and portents." "Sir," answered the official, "come down before my child dies." "Go home," said Jesus, "your son will live." The man believed what Jesus had said and started on his way. And while he was still on the journey back, his servants met him with the news that the boy was alive. He asked them when the boy had begun to recover. "The fever left him yesterday," they said, "at the 7th hour." The father realized that this was exactly the time when Jesus had said, "Your son will live." And he had all his household believed. And this was the second sign given by Jesus on his return from Judah to Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the midst of this coronavirus season, where we are faced with such death, news, difficulty, such negativity, so many things that were coming at us that is holding us in such terrible fixation on all that is going wrong, and the whole world tottering in this brink of disaster. In the midst of this, the Lord is nearly smiling on us today. And his smile is with readings of hope and readings that are speaking about a new beginning. So the prophet Isaiah says, "Now I create a new heaven and a new earth, and the past will not be remembered and will come no more to men's minds." Wow, wow. I create a new heaven and a new earth. What this whole experience that we are having right now is a recreation, the pangs of birth, the pain of child labor. That's what we are experiencing, because God is creating something, and he's creating something new. And if we want to be part of this new creation, then we have to see in this time where the hand of God is. And we have to respond in this time through faith to the hand of God, to the desire of God, to the work of God, and to the invitation of God to be part of this new creation, to be part of this new heaven, to be part of this new earth. We know the old creation, our life before 3 weeks ago, was not at its best. And I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. It was not at its best. It was not the life that God wanted for us. It was not living in the manner that God had desired. It was not doing the intimacy with God in the way God wanted, the intimacy with each other. We weren't as caring for each other. And in our families, we weren't building families of faith because we were distracted by so many things. And since we've had to shut down everything, and we've come back now to a much different way of living than we've had for many, many years, and since families are now at home, and now people are having more time together, how do we help God in this new creation? Well, what about family prayer? Everybody's home now. What about family rosary? What about gathering around the Bible? What about talking about the things that we are grateful for. Remember yesterday I asked you to make a list? Well, what about sharing that list around a table with your family? About the gratitude you have to God for the many ways that God has blessed you. If we do what God is intending and asking during this time, when this time of coronavirus is ended, we will see a new heaven and a new earth. We will see a new civilization emerge. We will see family life in a different way. And we will see new opportunities for hope and faith and grace and love and life. And we will see a better Trinidad and Tobago. And we will see a better Catholic Church. But if during this time we do all the things that we are accustomed to doing, and we're not turning to Him and calling and crying, then at the end we'll have the same old hell that we had before we went into this. In our gospel reading, we see that the man who came in Capernaum and asked Jesus to heal his child, he pleaded earnestly with him. And having experienced the miracle of God, the next thing that happened is the man and his whole household praised God. His whole household. They believed and they praised God. The invitation for us today is to beg on behalf of your family today. Plead to God on behalf of your family. And plead to God for grace, for family conversion, and for the family coming back to God in a brand new way. As we come to this Eucharist today, remember I'm offering the Eucharist for your prayers, your intentions. Remember that. And remember on this altar today, as I raise the host and the chalice, I raise you. And I bring you and your family before God and ask God to do a new thing, that He will create a new heaven and a new earth, and you will be part of this new creation.